Hi everyone, the date of this recording, it's Sunday the 31st of July of the year 2022, and I'm out here, I'm actually out here in a nearby area in Norton, which is a really nice, really peaceful area, and I thought, I thought this might be a good opportunity to put in another installation, and maybe there may just be one more installation after this. I think I've pretty much covered getting to the point where I'm covering kind of where my journey's going now. Where I left off before was when I had met my ex here in Canada, and so I had after I met her, we did meet online, and I requested an early out, which the U.S. Navy did grant, and I was given an honorable discharge and was able to render my GI Bill, which I did here at a university here in Canada that accepted it. My ex is an amazing person, and she had really inspired me to open up a lot, to really express my emotions and get right down to my core, which I never felt I could do before. The result of that was that I let her know fairly early on in the relationship that how I felt about myself and the kind of struggles I've had. And she wasn't okay with me as a partner in marriage, and that's okay. She's got to be true to herself too, and I don't fault her for that at all. We tried to continue on as a couple, and she had kids from her prior marriage. I became a parent, a step parent in that instance, and we had 2 more kids as well. So, and although even after openly admitting it to her, I tried to still continue to suppress it for the sake of our marriage at this point, and for what I thought would be the best thing to do for my kids. And this is a point where the floodgates of dysphoria really just came out just really hard, and I became really miserable again. And unfortunately, the ones I cared about and loved so much, I ended up making them miserable as well in the course of that. And it came to a point where, I'd mentioned my suicidal ideation before. I found myself in a position where not only made another attempt, but this one I had planned out a little more methodically than I had before. And I've disclosed this to some of my friends on another social media stream, on an internal stream. So some are already aware of this, but I had a plan where at the nearby park near where we lived, I had scoped out an area, knew it was a place that wouldn't have a lot of visibility, and I was just going to go out there one night and hang myself and not leave a note or anything. Just try to go out in the most quiet way I possibly could. Maybe in hopes they might find me in a couple of days, and really, I really felt like that would be the best thing for everybody, because I had felt like I was going to make my kids suffer if I finally did come out, that the marriage would have ended, and it's a hard thing to explain, but for anybody who's been in a state, I think you might understand that when you're in that state, it makes sense. It seems to be a logical, rational thing to do, and it seems to be the right thing to do. And I remember actually starting to make that walk, and I think it was about maybe I kind of felt like it might have been about 2 nights before I was going to actually go out and have done with it. And I remember just going out there. It was dark, it was a bit cold, and just kind of going out of the woods and just looking, and there was just that feeling of getting pulled back, and just thinking, why? You know, I asked myself my whole life, what's wrong with you? You know, I'd even stare at the mirror and say that, and kind of in this moment, there was just that phrase again, what's wrong with you? Like, meaning, and it resonated in a different way, where it had felt like, why do you think there's something wrong with you? And I didn't go through with it. And I'm very glad I didn't. And I had already been seeing a counselor for my post-traumatic stress disorder at this point, and finally just realized I need to talk to somebody who's skilled on gender identity, and have a deeper discussion about that. And my ex supported my going to do that. She did express that we were likely going to have to separate, and I think at that point I had accepted that, and now realize, like, this is not going to be perfect or ideal, but this will, you know, I'm still here, and we'll still be able to raise our kids together. And I kind of, what had happened was, when I actually began making the counseling visits, and the counselor I was seeing was absolutely amazing. She was absolutely wonderful, and I'm still friends with her to this day. But when I accepted myself more finally, I found myself starting to like myself more. And this wasn't a quick thing. I mean, I'm condensing kind of really about the, you know, therapy about the course of a year, and a lot of very hard points that happened in that. But it was about 2 years ago where I and right when COVID came crashing down as well, where, you know, I thought, you know what, the year 2020 was the year this will be a do or die year for me, quite literally. And I started making those steps to start presenting to the world who I really am, what I really look like, and that there were very small steps, but I guess the approach I took was that I wanted to really kind of set the expectation, understand to everybody that I am female, and that I've always been female. And I've got to say, it worked out really well. Really well. You know, the more I'm talking about this right now, this might actually be the last installation, because this is kind of flowing pretty well here. And it was through Veterans Affairs where I still received part of my medical care, even though I'm here in Canada, just because the availability was there. Whereas tragically in the province I live in, there's a considerable shortage for a lot of medical specialists. So I'm very privileged in that way, and I have to acknowledge that too. But I'd found once I came out to Veterans Affairs, and at this point also I had came out to my own parents, which is still a work in progress, but we're doing really well. I'm pretty thankful for that. And getting, I knew I had to start my hormone therapy, which happened very quickly. I'm very thankful for that. And that was so. It was November the 2nd of 2021, day one of my Eserdal, that I had started that. I remember that day. And I remember putting on my first patch and feeling it. It's different for every person. When for those who need hormones to be properly aligned. Not everybody does. Each one of us is different in that way. But I'll tell you, I remember the very first, it was a Monday evening on the 2nd of November, and my endocrinologist, who was in the U.S., had worked in cooperation with my primary care practitioner here, so they were able to fill my prescription here on this side of the border, which was really good, because there were still so many problems traveling over due to COVID. But I remember it was that evening when I put on my first patch, and I could feel it then, and it worked pretty quickly for me, I've got to say. And it was where there's almost like this little hum that happened within about 30 minutes after starting it, and I started to feel the rest of me become alive. And it's been 20 months, I guess, and it's been amazing, and I've been doing really well since then. Over the course of that, the end of 2020 is when I had to move out, and I was able to thankfully stay in the same town where my kids are, and it's a small town, but I didn't want to be away from my kids, and I also knew for those who hear the term going stealth, where we'll go on our journey in a way that might not be visible, that wouldn't have been possible in the town we lived in. But also, I don't know if I really wanted to do that. I wanted people to see this, because I think if people see it right in front of them, that there's no that might ease some of the discomfort that some people have in having visibility on it, and also I didn't mind talking about my journey either, because I want this to help others. I really do, and I hope this does, and I hope these videos do as well. But I've got to say, it's I've it's not been perfect by any stretch, and there have been some hiccups here and there, but the one thing I found, though, is that, as I've alluded in some other videos, is that when you love yourself, loving others becomes very, very easy. And with my kids, as a parent, my relationship with my kids is the best it's ever been, and I love being their parent. I'm very proud and honored to be their parent. I mean, can't imagine life without them, and I'm so thankful that I can be able to share 100% of myself with them, and with everybody too. And again, for those who follow Scripture, that's the second part of the commandment of love, is love your neighbor as yourself, and you do have to be a part of that. And so loving yourself is very important. And being trans is not a mistake. Being trans is not a sin. and it's certainly not a choice. This is, as I've said before, this is something that is hardwired here. But I'm very thankful I am. And I have really great hopes about life. It's absolutely true that it's, number one, never too late. It really never is. One of my heroes is a woman from the UK, Patricia Davies, and I don't know if Patricia's even still alive or not, but I read the article. It might be about 7 years old now, but she was 90 when she decided to, when she came out and got on the 100% journey. And that's absolutely amazing. That really is. And it's, no matter the length of time you have ahead of you in life, when you can be your authentic self, the best years really are ahead of you. They may not be easy, but they will be the best. Take it from me. I'm very, very thankful to be here. And I'm very thankful to have my life. Amid all the things I have been through in my life, I am so thankful to be here. And I'm thankful to connect with each and every one of you as well. And I think this will be the last installation. It just came together pretty well here. And I'm not doing any production or anything with these, and I hope everybody's all right with that. But so, yeah, I think I will stop with this, so you kind of have some insight into more who and what I am, and I hope it does help others to hear my story, and for those who are finding themselves on a similar journey. You are absolutely amazing. You are valid. And the world is a better place on account that you exist. And thank you for being you. I will stop with this. And thank you everyone for allowing me to share my story. And I plan to be here for a long time to come. Thank you again so much. Love you.